Welcome, my food and mood friend. How you doing? I'm wanting to talk about bulletproof coffee. Just subscribe to my channel. I have a bunch of other videos on coffee enemas, how to do them, what they are, why they work, microbiome, how to, they're all of these pieces. So go check out my channel, my video library, and look at more for the other coffee enema pieces.
Welcome! Here is your hostess and coach, Chandra Zas, helping people make food and mood changes doable without missing out. Go ahead, high five that like button, subscribe and share while you're there.
I really love coffee in all forms, coffee enemas, drinking coffee. I have like a thing for coffee, which I am going to actually look at a little bit more and maybe question if I'm overusing coffee. There's going to be some more videos and information coming on this. And I'm always looking at ways to like balance out the things that I love. So coffee, I think, has a lot of really great attributes and great things for our body, and can also be overused and can harm our health to some degree if we're overusing it. And one trick that I've really loved and incorporated recently is bulletproof coffee. And it's not my original idea. I totally used it and tried it out, and I really love it. And bulletproof coffee, more or less, is basically putting oil. It could be ghee. This is one of my favorite things to put in bulletproof coffee. It's in Hebrew, so you probably can't read it. But this is organic ghee. There is some English there, actually. So you can also use coconut oil. You can technically use any oil. I really love the flavor of ghee. You can even use grass-fed butter. It's also the similar effect. And what I have found that is amazing about bulletproof coffee is that having the oil with the caffeine, it slows down the intensity of the spike of the caffeine. So, hello, my friend. How are you? I'm in the Dead Sea, floating in the water. Go ahead and like and share and follow so we can keep in touch. It feels more grounded. How can coffee feel grounded? Coffee has like this very up, Vata, very stimulated, like, think of coffee, you're like, think of going up, right? You don't think of like being down and grounded. And I feel like what helps with bulletproof coffee and the ghee or the coconut oil is it kind of grounds the caffeine. So it kind of balances. If you think about it in Ayurvedic terms, I really like thinking about Ayurveda in the terms of like balancing. And actually ghee is a very Ayurvedic food. It's from India. India is where really ghee came from, even though it's becoming a thing all around the world. The idea is to like, in Ayurveda, the idea is to balance. So you have your doshas, you have Vata, Kapha, and Pitta. And Vata is the air. And like, I'm pretty darn sure. Actually, I bet that coffee is Pitta Vata or Vata Pitta. So it has this kind of like creative, mental, intelligent, this way of like this energy, this Vata energy. And Pitta is all about fire and drive, and the biggest Pitta emotion is like anger. But it can also be like the healthy form of anger. It has this drive and this fire and this push. And coffee is like, I'm pretty darn certain, I'm kind of like making this up as I go, but I'm pretty darn certain that most Ayurvedic practitioners would agree that it's a Vata Pitta food. And then, so like the idea in Ayurveda is that there's always all of these elements, and then the idea is to like balance them into harmony. So like ghee is like oil, heavy, kapha. Like all of the oils are very kapha foods or kapha energies, essences. So when you have this Pitta Vata coffee, then bringing in this heavy, grounded ghee or coconut oil can really kind of balance out that source. I want to call it a food, but I know that coffee's not a food. But maybe if we put ghee in it and we make it bulletproof, then maybe we can count it as a food. What do you guys think? Does that sound like a good idea? So I wanted to touch on bulletproof coffee and how I have really found that it helps balance out my caffeine intake and it's funny because I actually didn't plan to talk about Ayurveda or talk about this aspect of bulletproof coffee, but I really like what I came up with during this video, and I really think that there's something to it, that it's a balancing piece of the Vata and the Pitta up and force and fire, and that grounded, heavy, like, wow, I love that. If there's anybody out there that's Ayurveda based, and like, I would love to hear what your thoughts are on my kind of thing that I came up with on the fly about bulletproof coffee and balancing out the doshas. Wow, that's really cool. So if you're a coffee drinker, and especially the biggest thing is if you're drinking coffee, which is not ideal, but if you're drinking coffee first thing in the morning on an empty stomach, because it's really different. And I know that we're going to get into this with Yotam. Actually, by the time this video comes out, I think we'll have already come out with our video on Yotam. So you should definitely go check out with Dr. Yotam Tamari. We're going to talk all about coffee. I know that he's going to say the best thing for drinking coffee is after food. So, which is probably ideal. Because if you put caffeine straight in your belly with no food, it's like going to go stronger and harder into your system and into your adrenals. So I think one way, like if you're a coffee drinker in the morning and you're fasting, maybe you're doing intermittent fasting and you're having coffee on an empty stomach, then one way to really kind of help your body out energetically and digestive wise is to have some ghee with it that kind of turns it into a food and kind of digest it at a different level. I really love bulletproof coffee. It's something I've been doing. I kind of switch up my caffeine intake. I normally do a lot of mate in the morning. And though actually even in my mate, I will also put a spoonful of oil. I really feel like it just digests and feels better in my system. So try it out. I'd love you to give it a shot, and I'd love to hear what your experience is, or if you've already tried it, or what your best tricks are. Like, please feel free to comment below. I'd love to hear what you have to say on bulletproof coffee and Ayurveda and doshas and balancing and ghee. And have a beautiful day. I love all of this. I love that you're here learning and exploring, and thank you for being here. I really, really love it and appreciate it. And I'll see you soon. Have a beautiful day.